Pero hasta fucking cuándo, bro.
I think this is how we all feel about Lucky Ice Pop, especially from last season, right? Lucky Ice Pop is one of those cards that could be splashable in almost every single deck, right? Now, once you have that one card that's benefiting everything at an insane rate, it could be a problem card and, talks about bans and ban lists and everything like that could be brought up to the table. Now, in this discussion, could Lucky Ice Pop be ban worthy? Could Pokemon TCG Pocket benefit from a ban list? Now, that being said, if we look into the last format, the ending of rank was very toxic when it came to Hydreigon and Lucky Ice Pop, and even Mega Altaria abusing this card. There are so many decks that, there are so many situations where Lucky Ice Pop just gives you this crazy win condition that you shouldn't have. Like sometimes I feel like this card is definitely a like 70-30 on the RNG flip. Like, you know, it's a better potion, right? That you could keep on using. So not only that, it kind of makes potion not even a real playable card. The power creep is real. The one thing I do want to bring up about this card, right? Over this weekend, as you guys saw me cast in the Pocket Mads tournament. So here we have a tournament that was thrown by Pocket Mads, right? The Lucky Ice Pop was banned. That being said, this showed us what a potential no Ice Pop or Ice Pop ban list would look like, right? It looks so much healthier for the game. Like, look at the entries of decks. We did have Baxcalibur and Suicune popping off more. We did have a lot of, variants of the Belly Boat. Meowscarada was here. We got a refresher of like older and newer decks. We got more Blazikins in here. We got Charizard popping off, and although Altaria Greninja doesn't really need it, it's not like, a make or break, right? Chingling and Altaria can also abuse Lucky Ice Pop, but if you look at the entries for Hydreigon Mega Absol, out of like 580 people, they only brought 18 of them only just came in with Mega Absol and Hydreigon. So that's very telling how like carried this deck is, you know, just like I mentioned before, like the last season and then the beginning, deck is just way too powerful with one card. Even people bringing in Indeedee kind of makes the Hydreigon Mega Absol a little bit more fairer. If we go into this 280-ish person tournament, right? 37, out of all those is kind of insane, right? For it's the highest attended. It's a 13%, share of this whole metagame. And granted, this is also showing you that, the set just came out and there's a lot of new decks that could be tested, right? But people say, nah, I just want to play Hydreigon and, Lucky Ice Pop, right? So, like, all these lists are playing kind of uniform, and it's really making the game very stale and very coin flip. Are we just like gambling now? It's basically what it really comes down to. If we look at the standings for this tournament, right? This tournament literally has how many? One, two, three, four Hydreigons out of those 37. Made it into their top 8, which is kind of insane. How many new decks? You only got 2 belly boats in here, and then the whole meta looks the same. Like, that's how strong this deck, that one card can benefit, Hydreigon. Hydreigon is just kind of insane in this metagame. If we just go back here, the whole win rate had it's like 53%. It's like it's almost pushing into the 54 range. Now, if we go into the standings for the other tournament where Lucky Ice Pop was banned, you know, the top 8 is cleared away from Hydreigon, right? It just shows you that Lucky Ice Pop is, you know, carrying this deck, a lot of RNG. So, like, let's just play like a statistics games, right? Like, the more you enter with Lucky Ice Pop and Hydreigon, of course there's gonna be that one player out of that, you know, many people playing Hydreigon and Lucky Ice Pop that's gonna be, you know, flipping heads for the majority of the tournament. You know, in this case, it just shows you where the deck really, you know, kind of stands, because like if we even like drop down here to top 64, I think there was only one Hydreigon that actually snuck in there, which was kind of insane. So it really comes down to like, could Pokemon TCG benefit from a TCG Pocket, benefit from a ban list? Because like, you know, even like limiting cards, or maybe just quite frankly banning them in general because they're that generic. I mean, they're that degenerate. It's, you know, worth the chat. What do you guys think? If I feel like the meta would be a lot healthier and, you know, a lot more inclusive to other decks in a competitive style. I do like how, you know, everything performed in Pocket Match tournament. You know, everybody was having fun with that tournament. Brand new decks were, you know, coming out, and, you know, everybody was more you know, everybody was being more creative. And yeah, we still had Alteria's here. Altaria didn't even make it into the top 8. That's showing you like how strong these other decks are. I'm sorry, one Altaria made it into top 8. So that's just showing you like how much this card kind of carries everything, right? So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we could just go from there, because the reality is we're not going to escape Lucky Ice Pop when it comes down to the next rank season. But overall, my thoughts, I feel like the game would be healthier without it, but it's a good showcase where, you know, where the problem card really lies. You know, there's always going to be that one card that everybody like hates, right? You know, I maybe banning a Greninja would be kind of over the top, but I would say, you know, Ice Pop is kind of insane. It's just an item card that, you know, you could just keep spamming and spamming and run 2 of them. You fail one of them, you go on to the second one. It's just like one of those cards that, you know, people complain about Swablu as well, Sleep. You ban that, and then, you know, the Altaria that kind of becomes unplayable, right? But at the same time, you know, you have Find a Friend, Swablu. So, you know, just overall, my thoughts, I feel like the game would be in a healthier meta. People would enjoy it more if Lucky Ice Pop wasn't in. But at the same time, you know, I understand the people that are competitive as well, that are more like, we want to play with every card that's available to us. Doesn't matter, you know, because there are people like that, and people that enjoy playing that style as well. You know, if anything, you know, it could show us how, you know, a ban on the card could really affect it, and I feel like it could be very positive if you know, Pocket ever looks into something like that. But we're gonna end the video here.